In addition to its impact at the state level, NAIFA is tremendously influential in Washington. Key to that influence is the annual NAIFA Congressional Conference. Unfortunately, last year's Congressional Conference was canceled due to the pandemic. But this year, through the magic of technology, we'll be having a virtual Congressional Conference. We are fortunate today to be joined by Maggie Buneo, Grassroots Director at NAIFA National, who will fill us in on this event. Maggie, welcome to NAIFA, Indiana this month.
Thanks, Joe. It's a pleasure to be here.
Maggie, tell us about your role as Grassroots Director of NAIFA and about this year's Congressional Conference.
Of course. So as Grassroots Director, it is my job to work with you all as NAIFA members to develop your relationships with both members of Congress and the members of your state legislature. So we can use those when legislation or regulation comes across the desks of the State House or the White House, and to stop those from either stop them from happening or encourage good legislation. And so the Congressional Conference itself, which is held annually, I know many of you from Indiana have attended in the past, is a great opportunity to help build those relationships with your members of Congress. Obviously, this year, Congress is still pretty buttoned up tight as far as having visitors between COVID and what happened on January 6th, but we're still able to have our Congressional Conference virtually. For those of you that have attended the Congressional Conference in the past, you'll see that there are some pieces that are very similar and some that'll look a little different. The Congressional Conference is May 25th and 26th this year. That is the Tuesday and Wednesday before Memorial Day. On the 25th, we'll have our legislative program, which will look very similar to the legislative program you may have seen in the past if you've attended the Congressional Conference. We will have two great congressional speakers. We have Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina, slated to speak, as well as Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy from Florida. Senator Tim Scott is actually a former NAIFA member, and he serves on the Senate Finance, Senate Banking, and Senate Help committees, which are all key committees of jurisdiction over NAIFA issues. Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy serves on the House Ways and Means Committee. So it's great that we can have both of these folks speak to our group. We'll then have some industry leaders speak with us, and we'll have our legislative panel with our NAIFA lobbyists and outside counsel. So that's something I know if you've been before that most people really look forward to. They will tell us about sort of what's going on in the policy arena in Congress and what we should look for tomorrow or the next day in our meetings. After that, we're actually going to be able to provide you with some training that we normally, due to space constraints, have not been able to provide in the past. We will have a session for first-time attendees. So if you haven't attended before and you're interested, but you're a little nervous, this is a great session for you because we'll walk you through these congressional meetings, let you know what to expect and exactly sort of what you should do to be comfortable for the meetings the next day. We'll also have a session on how to continue to build these relationships after a day on the Hill. So a lot of you and a lot of people in general will come to Washington, D.C., they'll visit with their legislator, and then they'll go and do it again the next year. But there's a lot that you can do in between and right after a fly-in to help build those relationships and to keep the relationship between the legislative office and you quite strong. And so we'll walk through that a little bit. And then one that I know a lot of people are excited about is we're doing an Ask the Experts panel. So if you've ever listened to our legislative update with our lobbyists and had a question afterwards that you're like, hey, I wonder, this technical piece, you'll be able to ask that to one of our lobbyists and get an answer. We'll also have an NAIFA PAC event on the 25th for those that are NAIFA PAC contributors. On the 26th will be our virtual day on the Hill, and we'll be meeting with Senate offices. So this is a little different from years prior because we normally meet with the entire congressional delegation, but since we're doing this on Zoom and that sort of constrains things a bit, we'll be meeting with just Senate offices. So if you can keep your 26th open as we get closer to those in that time, we will have those meeting times available for you, and that'll be over Zoom. So that's basically what the event looks like. If you're interested in registering, you can go to advocacy.naifa.org/2021. Registration is free and open to everybody. So hopefully we'll see you virtually and hopefully in person again in 2022. So back to you, Joe.
Thanks, Maggie. I'm really looking forward to this year's conference.